Hey viewers, my name's Kara. I'm your host for Tuesdays on the Pagan Perspective, and this week we're answering some more specific questions about Books of Shadows. We have done videos on Books of Shadows, grimoires, and related sort of recording devices in the past. A few times actually, but these questions are a little bit different than any ones that we've gotten before, so we're going to get a little more in-depth. And also we have new members since the last time we covered it. So hopefully you'll hear a little bit more new this time, and don't forget the link should be in the description of all of our videos. It will definitely be in the description of mine to the Pagan Perspective collab blog, where you can look at all the topics and all the videos that we have done since the collab started in 2009. Also, I am away from home this week, hence the different background. So now, without any further ado, this week's topic comes from TheFelixWitch, who just wanted to hear us cover Books of Shadows again in general, and Coreyemmah, who had several questions for us, and all the text will be in the description as well. So we're talking about books that you use as part of your pagan practice, whether it be a Book of Light and Shadows, Book of Shadows, grimoire, mirror book, journal, diary, notepad, whatever it is for you. I don't think that everyone uses the term Book of Shadows, but I think a lot of us use some method of kind of recording the things that we like to do. First question, however, is do you think that it's better to write this kind of thing, to write it by hand than on a computer, and why? I actually keep some things in hard copy and handwritten text on paper, and I keep other things on the computer. The things I keep on the computer are the things that I want to have in a certain format that I can change around. Like, I use Excel to make spreadsheets so that I can rearrange it in all sorts of different ways. I can sort it to whatever way I want to see the information at the time. Can't necessarily do that in a book. And anything that I think I'm going to want to change over the years, and I don't want it to be in this permanent position. If I want to change it, I usually put it online because you can edit it, change it up, make it look different. And things that I put in my handwritten copies are things like just journaling, little diary entry type things. I handwrite those. And anything that I know, like, this is going to be information that I'm going to always need and it's not going to change. If anything, I'm just going to add to it. So I think using a computer is really helpful because you can always have it, you can back it up, you can put it on different flash drives, you can take it with you, it might be a little more portable, and you can always copy and paste things that you find online and things like that. But I think the handwritten books are important because if it is something really personal, it helps, I think, to have it in your own personal handwriting. It adds your energy to it. And also, I have some things written in my books that I actually read from in circle. If there's like a poem that I want to recite, or just a little prayer that I don't always say it, so I don't have it memorized, but I might want to use it from time to time, it's a lot easier for me to bring a small book into circle and actually hold it in my hand than it would be to carry my laptop around a circle. So there's pros and cons. It depends on what you want to use these things for. Second, is it kind of a witch's diary or a part of a long tradition of grimoires? Well, it depends. If you happen to be part of a family tradition, or if your parents, grandparents, siblings, cousins, whoever it is, if they've done it before and they pass you down something, then it might be part of a tradition. Personally, I have some things that I'm writing down with the intention of sharing them with my children or any small children that I end up, helping to raise, whether it be nieces and nephews, anyone who's interested in my family that I want to pass it down to. I might pass it to them, or I might let them start their own book and copy any information from my book that they want, and so that would make it part of a tradition. But then I have other things that really are just kind of like my diary, to remember what I did and remember what happened. And I don't necessarily intend for anyone else to ever see those. It wouldn't really bother me if, my kids did want to read that down the line or something like that, but I don't write those things with the intent of, I am passing this down for other people to be able to understand it. It's just for me. So again, it depends on what you're using it for. Is it necessary or recommended to write my own Book of Shadows? I'm not exactly sure what that question is asking. If the question is whether you should handwrite it, I do recommend doing that, like I said, for certain reasons. But if you want to use a digital copy for certain reasons, whatever is best for you. But I do personally think that having some things handwritten lends your energy to them, so if it's something that you want to use that for, I recommend it. If the question is just, should I keep a Book of Shadows? Should I keep some kind of journal, diary, whatever? I guess it's not necessary, but I do personally recommend it. I think it's really great to have some kind of record because, I can look through my little journals and I can see what I thought about my path in 2004. 2006, 2008, and I can kind of see what I did, how I felt about it, what my struggles were, what I thought was really cool. And then now I try to keep track of every little thing that I do, every formal thing at least, every time that I sit down and I'm like, I'm gonna do a meditation or I'm gonna do this thing. I try to keep track of that because then I can think to myself, oh, last year I did this really cool thing that worked really well. I think there were some parts of it that I didn't like. What was that? And I go back and I look, and then I can kind of tweak it and make it better for the future. So I absolutely recommend keeping some kind of record. What should be in there? Depends on what you need. What do you need and what do you want to be in there? Like I said, I have the one journal where I just write down everything that I do, and so I mark down what day it was, what the moon phase was, just because I work with the moon, but if you don't, then that wouldn't be necessary for you to put in there. I mark down the time of day, and then I just write what I did. I'm like, this is what I did, this is what I got from it, this is what, messages I received or anything like that. This is what I think it means at this time. My other book, I have information and charts and things like that, and I don't copy and paste and put things in. My mom has a really big book that she has copy and pasted charts and just put them right in, but I hand wrote most of mine. So I have like a list of the days of the week and their correspondences, and colors in their correspondences, my own personal correspondences and things that I want to use over and over, prayers that I like, quotes that I like, little reminders, little meditation type mantras and things like that. Anything that I think, oh, I'm going to want to use this later on, or it's just really cool, or it's a great part of my path, I'll put it in there. And I'm one of those people that I have a lot of different books. I have always my entire life loved writing things down, loved having different books I love being really organizational. So I do have several different books. I took a picture of some of them. I will show you right here. The unicorn book you guys may have seen before on this channel or on my personal channel. That is what I call my Book of Shadows, but really it's more of a grimoire. It started off as being a journal about my practice really early on, but now it mostly just contains information and definitions and correspondences and personal things that I've come up with that I want to use throughout my path. The small butterfly journal is my journal where I record everything that I've done, every meditation, every ritual I attend, every group meeting, every time I do magic or do something, I record it in there. And the green spiral notebook is my mirror book, which is just anytime I have a thought that's not part of a ritual, or anytime I just have like something that I would almost write in a blog, but I want to keep it private, I put it in that notebook. I also have a little tiny notebook specifically for my shadow work, because I have a book that I'm working through shadow stuff, and each section has like a journal entry that you're supposed to make and things that you're supposed to keep track of, so I have a separate shadow notebook. Things like that. I have lots of little books that I started throughout the years and never finished them, and so I just have a lot. And they're all different. Each thing has a different sort of purpose for me. But you could put it all into one binder. You could type it all up on the computer, print it all out, and put it in a certain place if that's what works for you. Pile it all together, have a bunch of little tiny books, whatever. 2 more questions. Is it creative, and is it a creative and individual project of every single witch or coven? I believe it is. That's how I feel about it anyway. My Book of Shadows is not going to be the same as yours, or his, or hers, or theirs, or M's, or Z's. I've never worked in an official coven setting, and the groups that I work with now, we don't have like a collective book. But I could see that being a really cool project if a solid group wants to get together and put together their own of like, these are our rituals, these are our traditions for this group, then it would be totally individual to that group, and this other group over here, they would have a totally different thing. So that's how I feel about it. Yeah, it's individual. It's absolutely a reflection of what is you. And the last question, what do you think about more than one Book of Shadows of one witch? Well, I have told you I have several books. To me, I think I forgot to mention this earlier, to me the word grimoire refers to a reference book. That's the book that really has, charts and things that you reference and stuff that you want to go back to and use. You might have recipes in there, prayers, chants, crystal correspondences, color correspondences, herbs, incense recipes, other things that you want to reference. It's your reference book. That's what I think of as a grimoire. And a book of light and shadows, to me, is more of the what's actually your inner process. That's more of the journaling aspect to me, or what you personally feel about your path. So my unicorn journal started out as a Book of Shadows, and I was only journaling and things like that, and now it's more of a grimoire. So it's a combination, but it depends on what those words mean to you. I do have several different books, and to me they all serve a slightly different purpose. So I don't think it's weird at all to have multiple books, because that's how my brain works, but as is the nature of being a human being, we're all different. My brain doesn't work the exact same way that everyone else's does, so some people might want to have one big solid book. Some people might not want to have a book at all, but keep it all on the computer, or some people might not want to record anything. So really, I think you kind of just have to try it out and see what works for you, see what you need. What do you need to have available to you, and then create it. That's what I've got for you this week. Thank you so very much for watching. I will see you next week, and until then, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.